Hey everybody, just a little update. Lots going on, and just thought I'd bring you up to speed with a few things I've heard, what might be happening with relation to Ukraine, Russia, US, Europe. Well, of course, Europe, as usual, is outside the loop, not relevant, nothing really happening when it comes to the Europeans. They are essentially irrelevant when it comes to Russian American relations right now. Now, what's happened is very interesting. Steve Witkoff was supposed to go to Turkey to meet Zelensky. He's not going. Instead, a military man is heading to this meeting. So that is significant as well. Now, you know that the Oval Office has been completely silent about this huge corruption scandal, which again, I'll say it again, is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to corruption in Ukraine. They've remained completely silent about that. Why would that be? Why would the US, Donald Trump's administration, and this is a man that's, absolutely not shy about speaking out about things, why would he remain completely silent about this huge piece of news that even the mainstream media is now admitting is a catastrophe for Zelensky? I've said repeatedly that people are saying, oh, this might be the end of Zelensky. I don't think it's the end of Zelensky. I think it's the weapon that people needed to beat Zelensky into submission and tell him, get back in your lane, do as you're told, do a deal, and be quiet. So we don't know, will there be a deal, but there's something occurring. And some of my sources are telling me very reliably that there is something happening in the background. And we also know that the United States and the Russians are still talking to each other at a very high level. We know that. I know that. So I think something is brewing in the background between the US and the States, US and Russia. I think the breaking scandal in Ukraine isn't going to be the end of Vladimir Zelensky. I don't think it will because I think, number one, he's got too much compromise. He's too malleable. An actually independent leader in the hot seat in Kiev would be a bigger problem for everybody involved. Zelensky is an actor. He's loyal to nobody but himself and his own pocket. He's demonstrated that. So he can be manipulated and he can be told what to do. And I definitely think right now that the United States are remaining silent on his corruption and his obvious central role in this nexus of corruption in Ukraine for a reason. And that reason is that they have a piano hanging over him. Uh, and they will release that piano at whatever time they would like to. We also know that the EU, the Europeans, despite all their talk and their coalition of the willing to be retarded and all this absolute drivel speak that comes out of Europe, we know that they have absolutely no way of continuing to sustain an increasingly aggressive cuckoo in Ukraine with his mouth open, starving the parents. They cannot fund this war. There's a massive production crisis in Europe. There's no way that they can arm themselves and arm Ukraine. Ukraine is a very aggressive state, remember. Look at what's happened in Hungary, Slovakia. They're happy to bomb pipelines. They're happy to pull out the baseball bat if you don't do as you're told. When you get into bed with these guys, you very quickly realize what you've sold out to. And the Europeans know that the Ukrainians aren't going anywhere. And remember, there's a lot more of the Russian in the Ukrainian than there is the Frenchman or the Italian. And they're going to learn that. So it's a really interesting time. So I just wanted to update you on what I'm hearing. Something is afoot. I don't know exactly, and I've told you what I do know. But let's watch this space. Very, very interesting stuff. Talk to you soon.